When it comes to wedding filmmaking, having the right equipment can really improve your workflow and the quality of your films. I'll cover the essential gear I use, why I use it, and how it can contribute to a seamless wedding day experience. When it comes to bags, your gear needs to be organized and easily accessible. Here's my go-to collection of bags. This Vanguard bag, I really like it. It's like a suitcase type of bag, but also you can wear it as a backpack. Why I really like this bag is because it has the usual components like most bags. I could fit my cameras, some lenses, and most of my things in this bag. Because this bag is under a certain weight and size, I can also travel with it when I'm doing weddings abroad. But it's really cool because it's got wheels, and yeah, that's what I like about it, the fact that it's got wheels, to be honest. A bag is really important because it keeps all your tools and things together. So this is a bag that I really like, and I would highly recommend this Vanguard bag. The next bag is a lights bag. So I have this bag which carries my Godox ML60. It carries the light in here, the batteries will be in this compartment, the charger for it is here. Obviously things are plugged in right now. I'm using them, and yeah, like, it's a cool bag to use. Next is obviously, this is the small rig tripod bag. So this actually comes with the tripod. The tripod goes in here, and there's like a little compartment to be able to put things that came with the bag. This is the Canon M50. This was my first camera. It did the job when I first got it, and yeah, I still have it. It's like a little vintage camera for me. I use it sometimes to take photos because it does take great photos. It's about 24 megapixels, so it's a decent camera, very compact, and yeah, that's my first camera. So obviously I shoot today with cameras like the FX3, as well as the A7S III and the ZV-1. Those cameras, they have the same specs, the same in-body specs, so they can all shoot 4K, 100 frames, or if you're in the US, 120 frames. They all are 10-bit cameras. They all shoot great in low light. Yeah, these are the cameras I use. So next we're gonna talk about lenses. Firstly, what I've got in front of me is prime manual lenses. So as you can see, we got numbers from 14 all the way to 135 millimeters. Prime lenses are industry standard for filmmakers, but the truth is when it comes to shooting on a wedding day, I don't use any of this. The reason I don't use any of this is because you don't have time to be changing lenses throughout a wedding day when you're filming. It's really run and guns. You're gonna have to be in a position when you're ready to switch from one focal length to another and get from room to room because it gets busy on a wedding day. To explain it in the most simplest way, prime lenses don't move. This is why you buy them individually, because they are fixed at the number they come at. So 14, 24, 50, 85, etc. So this is a prime lens, but the only difference between this prime lens compared to those ones is that this one's actually automatic. An example, so you can see my hands, for example, in the shot. It shows my hands, shows everything going on here. If I grabbed this lens, for example, and I pushed it close to the camera lens on the camera that's filming right now should focus on this specifically. So that's the benefit of autofocus. You want to be able to switch from scene to scene and be able to keep track of what you're filming. So next, I'd say batteries. Batteries are obviously what powers the camera and powers most things. So what I have in front of me is two Sony batteries for the Sony cameras. So for example, the one over here, this is not actually an original Sony battery. So if you look closer, you'll see it doesn't say anything, no Sony branding on it. Unlike this one's actually a Sony battery. So as you can see here, it actually says Sony on it, and this is an original Sony battery. If you're filming something very important, I would suggest having original Sony batteries. Sometimes the camera doesn't like when you use unoriginal batteries, and sometimes can flag out notifications when you put in a lens, and it's just very annoying. So I would say have some original Sony batteries, but also have a bunch of third-party batteries that you can use for when your Sony battery dies. I think I have like 8 batteries per camera or something like that. As well as the batteries, it's important to bring the actual chargers for the equipment on the day. If you bring the chargers, sometimes what I do is, whilst, for example, the ceremony is going on, I swap batteries and I change them over to charge. So whilst those are charging, I'm basically filming, ready to swap them out if I needed to. Next, I'll say SD cards. So this is my little wallet. I keep basically all of my SD cards inside of this wallet. So when it comes to memory cards, SD cards, and hard drives that I'll mention as well, which I'm gonna bring out. Firstly, when you record into a camera, with these high-end cameras like the FX3, the ZV-1, the A7S III, you wanna make sure you're shooting on an SD card that is at least V60 plus. Any of these cards basically that are above V60, V90 is a good card to get, because the benefits of these cards is that these cards basically can shoot 4K 100 frames. So when you shoot on a card, for example, this 32 gigabytes memory card, that's about, I think it's about V30. For something like this card, you're not going to be able to record 4K 100. You need something like this. I like personally shooting in 4K 100 and getting that super slow-mo, and that's why I use pro grade SD cards. They're just more cost efficient, and the read and write speed is decent, as I basically leave my footage to basically be backed up overnight when I go to sleep after I come back from a wedding day. When I get back in, I will take obviously my SD card, use something like this, which is a reader. So this reader is also from ProGrade. It reads and writes faster. So this basically reader helps transfer the files from here into this hard drive. So this is a hard drive and this is an SSD. To explain in the most simplest form, hard drive is what you use to back up footage and store it, and SSD is what you edit from. So for example, HDD stands for hard disk drive, and the reason it's called that is because you can see the size of it. It's a heavy, hard, yeah, this thing is big basically. It's got moving parts inside of it, and it's basically mainly just for storing a lot of footage that you want to archive. Now, an SSD, this is much smaller and compact, and that's why it's called a solid state drive, because it's secure, it keeps footage in here compact, but it also works faster. So when it comes to editing, you wouldn't want to edit from something like your SD card, because that is flimsy. It could literally just snap and break, firstly, and also it's much slower compared to your SSD. They have, however, made faster SD cards for people who have to film and edit something in the same day, like concerts and events. But in this wedding business, for us, especially if your turnaround time is anything from a few weeks to a month or two, or whenever your turnaround time would be, the good thing about it is that you can store things on this hard drive forever or get a bigger one. For example, I have an 18 terabyte behind me. This 18 terabyte behind me stores basically all my weddings from anything a month to a year to 2 years onwards. I'm actually need to actually invest in a NAS, and NAS is a conversation for another day. Now, when it comes to tripods, I love this one. This is the small rig tripod. This is really good. You literally can unlock it from these corners over here, and as you unlock it, it opens every single part all at the same time. Love this tripod, can't emphasize enough, highly recommend it. I even need to get more. Next is the gimbal. So this is the main thing that carries the camera. So it allows you to stabilize the actual camera. So the camera will be stabilized on it, and you'll be able to like get around and basically capture what you need to capture. It's really important having a gimbal. It's the most simplest equipment you can have, especially if you're doing run and gun. So this is the field recorder. The reason I really like this device is because this device connects directly to the system of the venue you'll be filming at. So let's say, for example, you're in a venue where the ceremony is outside. Sometimes there's a sound system there, and if there is, you can connect this device to the sound system. That way it collects the audio from the vows, so when the couple's doing the vows, you can hear it clean and it's crisp. Let's say in the reception area when there's speeches, you can also connect this to the system so you can be able to get the speeches. Another mic that I'm actually currently using is the DJI mic, also known as a wireless mic. The reason why I really like this mic is because this microphone basically is very compact and small, and you can basically connect a lav mic to it, so which I have right now, this lav wire. So as you can see here, this is basically a mic that I normally connect to the groom on the wedding day, and this is for me to capture his vows as well as the bride. I've never had to mic up a bride in the UK, because how I've set it up is that because I normally use the field recorder, I wouldn't need to connect a lav mic also to the bride. It's more so that the DJI mic now is like a backup mic between the bride and groom, and the field recorder is the main audio that I record from to get the sound that I need. There has been some cases where I can't connect the DJI to the mic, the bride and groom, because they don't want to be mic'd up for whatever reason, and there's also no system to connect the field recorder. So in the event that happens, I have these things. So these are like bands that connect to, that you can put on the microphone, that will be used on the day. So what I do is that I normally get the DJI mic, I'll clip the DJI mic inside this part, and then I would pull this onto the actual microphone that's going to be used on the day of a wedding. And that way everything's captured properly, if that makes sense. So when I first started, I actually didn't have wireless mics or a field recorder. So I had to film from the camera, and obviously the camera audio isn't the best. So I had like a shotgun mic on top, something like this. I obviously don't use these no more because I have the audio equipment I have. But shotgun mics are still cool, especially if you have a second camera or third camera and you just want to be able to capture the audio properly just in case something's missed. Now, everything after this is like more extra accessories that people use on the wedding day to help or enhance things on the day. I have an ND filter, for example, for the camera. So here's an ND filter, for example, for my 24-70 lens, really big ND filter. This is really good for when it's very sunny outside and you don't want to have to bring up your aperture so high. You would use basically ND filter so you can still be able to get that good shallow depth of field when you're filming, as well as quality footage. I also have ND filters for my drone. This allows you to minimize basically having to bump up your aperture, but using an ND filter to prevent that basically. Also, another accessory that some people use, I personally don't use it anymore, but when I first started, I used to use a monitor on my camera. Monitors are really good because you can just basically see properly what's going on. So there's different monitors to get. I think I started off getting this monitor. When I had this monitor, it was cool because it was cheap, but there's so many nice monitors out there now that you could use. If you've got great autofocus on your camera, you wouldn't have to worry too much about using a monitor. But if you feel like you really need to see and know what's going on, then yeah, you use a monitor. That's where I stand with monitors personally. Next, I will mention the drone. So drone, I offer complimentary drone footage. I like this drone. This is the DJI Mini 3 Pro. The reason I like this is because it films in D-Log. Comes with the RC controller too, so I can actually see on the screen when I'm flying, and sometimes like I'll show like the couple or guests around and they'll get proper excited because they're like, oh my gosh, like drone footage in a day. So when it comes to lighting, I use the Godox lights that I mentioned earlier. Those lights are powerful. I did start off with a camera light, so something like this. So I start off with a camera light like this. This is cool. I think the only thing about this is that it's heavy for the gimbal, because I wouldn't connect it onto a tripod and leave it on the side because it's not powerful enough, and then I won't put it on top of my camera or gimbal because it's just too heavy. So the Godox ML60s are lovely because they're portable and yeah, they're just great lights. They're powerful, gets the job done, and I really like those lights. So over here, these are some extra tools and accessories I use. I have so many, but I'll just show you some. So this is really good to just clean inside the camera. Sometimes the camera gets dirty and you can get this little black thing on your camera when you're recording and you won't even see it until you're on post. And then when you look at it, you're so annoyed. So you don't want to forget something like this because this basically cleans the lens. It's always good to clean the lens before you film to make sure that there's no little black dots or things on the camera. This is like a multi-tool. I use this for everything. To tighten my gimbal, this is really, really good. It's got everything on it. So this is why I really, really like this. It's a really handy tool. Next, cables. I got a bunch of cables. I'm only showing you this one now because this is the one I mentioned from the field recorder. This is an XLR cable. You know, I'd plug these two slots into the field recorder, and then this would obviously, the other part will go directly into the sound system. Now this is really important. I didn't know how important this was until I started flying out to film weddings. You know how we have a lot of batteries when we go to film weddings, right? Obviously, the batteries have a chemical inside the batteries. When you combine it with H2O, water, it can explode. So this basically cures batteries from trying to explode, basically. What I've noticed is that when you get to the airport, it puts the airport basically workers at peace because they know that, for example, you're taking precautions to prevent basically a fire or something going wrong. The main thing when it comes to gear is work with what you have. If you have the budget, obviously, to get the equipment you need, get it, but it's not mainly so about what you get, it's more so about how you use it. So take that into consideration when it comes to getting your equipment.